Hello, children. Welcome to the third part of the story, The Best Christmas Present in the World. Before beginning the third part, I would like to brief you with the summary of the previous ones. The narrator of the story went to a junk shop and purchased a roll top desk which was in worse condition. The narrator began its repairing on Christmas Eve and found a letter in its drawer. Yes, he read the letter. Who had written the letter? Mr. Jim Macpherson. To whom? To his wife, Mrs. Jim Macpherson, or Connie. Her name was Connie as well. After reading the letter, he found that the Jim Macpherson was leader of the England army, and he described that England and German were engaged in a war, but on Christmas morning a wonderful thing happened. What was wonderful thing? At first Germans wished them happy Christmas, and the same response was given by English soldiers as well. The leaders shared their ideas and feelings with each other and celebrated Christmas Eve by eating, laughing, talking, and drinking. Jim Macpherson has written all this in his letter to Connie. After that, they played football match in which Germans won. Because it's a national game of Germans, 1 point can be taken like this as well. In the night, both troops sang carols and had a peaceful Christmas. So the letter ends here, and the author decided to give this letter to Jim's wife back. Here we'll discuss in this part. Let's begin. I folded the letter again and slipped it carefully back into its envelope. Who is I here? Yes, the narrator. I kept awake all night. By morning, I knew what I had to do. Now, what will the narrator do? Yes, he would move to Bridport. He drove into Bridport, just a few miles away. I asked a boy walking his dog where Copper Beeches was. I went to Copper Beeches, where Mrs. Jim Macpherson used to live. House number 12 turned out to be nothing but a burned out shell. But see what happened there. There was nothing, no house, it was burnt, the roof gaping, the windows boarded up, roof opened and windows broken. I knocked at the house next door and asked if anyone knew the whereabouts of Mrs. Macpherson. I inquired to the neighbors about Mrs. Macpherson. Oh, yes, said the old man in his slippers. He knew her well. A lovely old lady, he told me, a bit muddle headed. Muddle headed means confused. But at her age, she was entitled to be. She was so old and she must be confused. Wasn't she? 101 years old. How old was she? She was 101 years. Yes, quite old. She had been in the house when it caught fire. No one really knew how the fire had started, but it could well have been candles. Maybe due to candles, the fire had been ignited. She used candles rather than electricity because she always thought electricity was too expensive. The fireman had got her out just in time. She was rescued. She was in a nursing home now, he told me. And where was that? Burlington House on the Dorchester Road on the other side of the town. First, he went to Copper Beeches in Bridport. Then he couldn't find the lady, Mrs. Jim Macpherson, there. Finally, now he would move to Dorchester Burlington House. I found Burlington House nursing home easily enough. There were paper chains up in the hallway, and a lighted Christmas tree stood in the corner with a lopsided angel on top. I said I was a friend come to visit Mrs. Macpherson to bring her a Christmas present. I could see through into the dining room where everyone was wearing a paper hat and singing carols. The matron had a hat on too and seemed happy enough to see me. She even offered me a mince pie. She walked me along the corridor. Mrs. Macpherson is not in with the others, she told me. She's rather confused today, so we thought it best if she had a good rest, if she takes the rest. She has no family, nobody comes to see her, nobody visits her. So I'm sure she will be only too pleased to see you. She will be happy to see you. She took me into a conservatory, a room with wicker chairs and potted plants all around and left me. Wicker chair means made of willow wood. The old lady was sitting in a wheelchair, her hands folded in her lap. She had silver white hair, that means grey hair, into a wispy bun. She was gazing out at the garden. Hello, I said. She turned and looked up at me vacantly, without any expression. Happy Christmas, Connie, I went on. I found this. I think it's yours. Now he handed over the letter to Mrs. Connie. As I was speaking, her eyes never left my face. She kept on gazing at me like a kid. I opened the tin box and gave it to her. That was the moment her eyes lit up with recognition and her face became suffused with a sudden glow of happiness. She was happy, her face glowed due to happiness, and her eyes lit up, her eyes shone bright. I explained about the desk. I told her that I bought a roll top desk and I found the letter in the drawer. But I don't think she was listening to me. She was just gazing at me. For a while, she said nothing, but stroked the letter tenderly with her soft fingertips. She stroked the letter tenderly, softly. She kept on stroking the letter, and suddenly she reached out and took my hand. Her eyes were filled with tears. She was sobbing inside. You told me you would come home by Christmas, dearest, and here you are, the best Christmas present in the world. Come closer, Jim, dear. Sit down. Now, what is the lady thinking? She's thinking that the man must be Jim Macpherson. But did Jim Macpherson come? No, he was the narrator. I sat down beside her and she kissed my cheek. I read your letters so often, Jim, every day. I wanted to hear your voice in my head. It always made me feel you were with me. And now you are. Now you are back. You can read it to me yourself. Would you do that for me, Jim, dear? I just want to hear your voice again. I would love that so much. And then perhaps we will have some tea. I have made you a nice Christmas cake, marzipan, all around. I know how much you love marzipan. And here this beautiful story finishes.